We come from all walks of life, some from around the world, some from right next door. We are diverse, yet we are one. What we share is a love of life and doing whatever it takes to make that life just a little bit better in the state we call home. We are friends, and we are advocates for ourselves, for each other, keeping Coloradoans informed, engaged, and active. This is the AARP Colorado Connection.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of AARP Colorado Connection. I'm Allison Miskey, and joining me today is Steve Merrill, AARP Colorado's lead advocate on utility issues. Hi, Steve. Thanks for being here.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure being here.
Well, today you're here to talk to us a little bit about the utility issue of deregulation. So why don't we start by you just explaining generally what that means and how it pertains to AARP and its members.
Well, what's happened since 1996 when the federal government passed legislation that deregulated the last mile of the loop in telecommunications, there's been a push by competitors entering the market, and as that has happened over time, there has been a push to force deregulation, in other words, taking Public Utility Commission authority away from the opportunity of regulating the industry within the states.
And I understand from talking to you that over the last few weeks there have been a few different bills that have come into play that target more phone service industries and deregulating those. Can you tell us about those bills and what is to them and how they affect us?
Yes, there's two bills that are currently in play in Colorado. The first bill was a House bill, 13-1255, and what that did was really push the idea of deregulating basic telephone service. That is currently sitting in the Senate. It is passed through the House. And then there's been a second bill just introduced Monday evening, which is Senate Bill 287, that is intended to increase funding for broadband expansion in rural areas within the state, what they call underserved and non-served areas that have no broadband. But within that legislation, they've also cobbled in some language that would deregulate phone service based on a technology, voice over internet protocol. We have significant concerns with both bills. We think the PUC should have retain the authority to deregulate once competitive markets are identified and they're effective markets where the consumers are protected by competition. We feel it is bad public policy to take authority away from the regulatory agency, the PUC, and force deregulation, which then leaves the customers on their own, whether there's a competitive market or not. We're very concerned about that.
So for the average Coloradan watching this, if these bills that you're against, if they did pass, what would that potentially do to the average Coloradan and their phone service and their phone bills?
What you typically see, and there's been data that's been published over the years, again, this goes back to 1996, but the big push has really taken place over the last 12 years, where you see states where the PUC has lost the regulatory authority over basic telephone service, whether it be based on a technology or just deregulation. We've seen significant increases in rates in those states. In some states, it can be 8% a year. The price of the service goes up. And also, quite frequently, we see that quality of service erodes. In other words, you see service decay in its quality, and you see rates go up. And ultimately, the consumer has no place to go unless it's to the FCC if they have a consumer complaint issue. So we lose those protections for the consumer.
Well, it certainly sounds like you and AARP have everyone's best interest at heart, and we appreciate you being here today to talk about this ongoing issue, and we appreciate you all for watching. We encourage you to check back here or to visit aarp.org/co for the latest information on issues such as deregulation and how they could affect the lives of Coloradans. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.